So the next talk is CryptoParty Must Die by Marie. Thanks you.
Hi. Who here is a programmer, a security expert? Raise your hand if you're a programmer or a security expert. Great, thanks. I'm not a programmer. I'm not a security expert. To be honest, I barely understand how these things work. I'm thankful for the work you do. You are needed. But I am not going to talk about you today. I'm a journalist. I'm an activist. I have mostly been working with people who work in communication or in art. For a really long time, I thought that your word, your way of acting, your tools weren't mine. I thought that what you are doing is too complicated for me. It actually is. What you do is really complicated, even if it is not impossible to understand. And you guys, besides being really good at doing your really important work, are really bad at something else. You are bad at communicating. You are bad at sharing the amazing tools you create with people who don't identify as being experts in what you do. It's a shame you're so bad at it. You should leave the hackerspace or your workplace for a while and notice how much your stuff is needed out there and how hard it is to use for normal people. I am not a programmer. It doesn't mean that I'm not a hackerspace nerd. Sorry. I know how easy it is to stay there, and I definitely belong to these people who barely see the sunlight because they prefer to spend their time among other nerds with some bottle of Club Mate and a bunch of laptops. I know it's convenient, I know it's easier, but it's wrong. We need you out there, and I have good news. If you would leave the hackerspace, and by this I don't only mean the hackerspace, I mean the nerd scene in general, you would notice something. There are many people out there who could help. There are many people out there who want to help you guys, or are even already doing great work at spreading what you create. There are activists, communication specialists, journalists, and artists who are willing to work with you. I think you should give it a try. Edward Snowden's revelations helped raise the awareness about surveillance. What he did is amazing, but it's not enough. It is our job to take over now. We need to work together to bring encryption to as many people as possible. What you do is great, but it's not enough. We need your tools, and we need people to bring them to the general public. So, who here is a journalist, an artist, or work in communication in any way? Great, some people. Who of you has already worked on privacy topics? Yay. I think that you should try have a chat with some programmer afterwards. You should share your ideas with them. Sorry, weird computer. Lately, I have been thinking a lot about how to communicate. As a journalist, I want to help making everyone aware of what surveillance means, of how it works, and so on. As a journalist, I want to fight for the right to have a free press. As a teacher, I try to find ideas to explain tools in a way that everyone would understand. And as an activist, I try to change things. As a journalist, teacher, and activist, I am also wondering why we aren't better at changing them. I hope we agree that we are in a position where more than ever we need to help changing things. And we need to accept any help we can get. even more if this help is the kind of help that will enable us to spread our knowledge, our tools, in any possible way. CryptoParty is a decentralized global initiative to introduce basic tools for protecting privacy, anonymity, and overall security on the internet to the general public. The idea was conceived in the wake of the Australian cybercrime legislation amendment bill in 2011 by Asher Wolf. And the reasoning is that laws like this are without substance when everybody encrypts their communication. CryptoParties are neither commercially nor politically aligned and free and open to attend for everyone as long as they live the guiding principles. There are two major principles. The first one is be excellent to each other, no harassment policy. And the second one is do things. If you have a good idea, just go for it. So basically, it's a workshop. We teach PGP and Tor and OTR, the Trinity, always. Also, mobile security and browser plugins on Firefox, file and hard disk encryption, password security and managers. We sometimes do install Linux if people want it. We teach Stealth, which is an anonymous incognito live system, or even experimental software like Pont if people really want to go far. Running a crypto party is amazing. In a few hours, you are able to empower people by providing them tools that they never thought they would be able to use. And so help them to get back a privacy they didn't think they had the right to. And a crypto party is fun. It is meeting people, learning, teaching each other in a relaxed and respectful way. I organized crypto party, and I love it. But crypto party is not the solution. Not everyone comes to a crypto party, not everyone can do so, and not everyone wants to do so. And even if everyone did, we would need so much time, so many people to teach it, so many resources, that would be impossible to teach everyone. Crypto party is a tiny bandage on a giant wound. We are doing our best, but we're not naive. CryptoParty will not save us as a society from mass surveillance. The problem on a technical level, and I know there are many other levels, like political, social level, is that the tools that provide good end-to-end encryption are too complicated. Whoever isn't an expert in computer security will need to go through a really long, complicated process to understand the tools and master their use, and so regain their right to a basic level of privacy. This is something we can't expect everyone to do, or even to be willing to do. I am not saying everything is bad. I have much respect for everyone who provides us tools, but most of them are, unfortunately, not accessible to everyone. A good example of how things should be done is Signal from OpenWhisper Systems. They managed to provide a tool for encrypted messages and calls on smartphones, in this case iPhones, that are easy to install, understand, and use. This is the way tools should be conceived in the future. But in most cases, this is what beginners have to deal with. I love OTR, but this website won't help spreading it. If I don't know OTR, and if I don't really know a lot about computers, this won't help me. First, here we can see an attempt to explain how it works. It says that there are 4 really important points: encryption, authentication, deniability, and perfect forward secrecy. I guess pretty much from these descriptions on the website could understand the 2 first points. But then, just forget about it. Digital signatures that are checkable by a third party is not something everyone can understand. Same for private keys. If you have no idea about encryption, you won't understand that. Let's assume someone just recommended the tool to me, and I won't try to understand it. I'll just try to download it from the website. Under download, I can see this here. Most people use Pigeon or Adium when they want to use OTR. There is no mention of Adium for Mac on this page. Why can't I see any instruction on downloading Pigeon on Linux as well? There is only Windows. And if you are a Windows or Linux user, once you are done with the installation, the struggle continues. You need to find out by yourself that you should manually activate the OTR plugin in a really long list of plugins. Only then you'll be able to generate a key if you understand what that means, and start once more manually an OTR conversation by clicking on the words "not private." Then you might be safe, except that Pigeon keeps logs by default, which means that your end-to-end encrypted conversation with perfect forward secrecy will stupidly be recorded on your device. This is everything but privacy by design. To go back to the starting point, OTR website, not so long ago, I had a nice surprise, a new website for OTR. So I thought, yay, good job, this looks much more modern. So there is actually some basic information about OTR on this website if you scroll down, but also there is this link, the first one here. It says, get to know the OTR protocol. And when you click on it, you come back there. Back to the old shitty page. User pain level, very high. And I don't even talk about PGP when I'm talking about this. So these might be details to you. Every single problem I mentioned is more than a detail if you are new to these things, and it can be changed. Another tool I use to criticize a lot for this kind of things is Tor. I tried to install Tor for the first time in 2010 because I read something about it on the internet. I was really curious. Huge fail. I didn't understand anything, there was no documentation, and I gave up and decided that these tools were definitely too complicated for me. The next time I came back to encryption was 2013, after Snowden. Lately, I had a good surprise. Tor improved its communication. So this has been released a few months ago. They made a few of these slides. These slides are awesome. They are great tools for teaching Tor. And they're also great because they show something really important about Tor. They show Tor understood that they can be better at communicating. At a CryptoParty, we try to come up with solutions to explain tools. We make videos, tutorials, we invent stories, and build our own do-it-yourself to try to make encryption as accessible as possible. I wanted to show you this example. This has been made by a guy who joined CryptoParty, I'll say 6 weeks ago. He didn't know how to encrypt anything. He has a MacBook. He had done nothing with computers, I think. 2 days ago, he sent me these pictures. He said, I learned how to encrypt email and chat and how to use Tor, and I wanted to give something back to CryptoParty. And he made these PGP boxes. So they basically explain the concept of public key here, private key here. Here there is some encrypted text, a fingerprint, and an ID, a short ID, but you'll learn. And there is this key to open the box. He found a way to explain in his own really simple way what he had learned in the last weeks. But this, as awesome as it is again a bandage, a solution we have to come up with because we have no choice. As long as it will be needed, we will keep doing what we do, teaching encryption to everyone who wants to learn it, because everyone has the right to privacy. Privacy is a basic human right. But even if we love what we do, we're still hoping that soon we won't be needed anymore. CryptoParty must die. And we need you to help us to kill CryptoParty. We ask you, programmers, to work with us, to work with people who are on the ground, to work with people who are teaching and explaining your tools, to work with UX people, to work with communication people, to work with whoever could help to share the tools you make. Don't worry about us. We'll find something else to do. As we're not so far yet, I would like to invite you at our CryptoParty tomorrow. If you want to teach, you're welcome to. And if you want to organize your own crypto party, if you have questions about how to teach encryption, we'll have a session on Sunday as well. To end this talk, I'd like to share something with you. It is the video we made to introduce CryptoParty, one of the several tools we built to help to share some concepts behind the idea of surveillance and the fact lots of people still think they have nothing to hide.
Seize this moment. We have to use technology to open up our democracy.
Let me ask a very simple question. Does it concern you that the government is spying on you?
They're not doing anything wrong, and they have nothing to hide, and they're not terrorists.
What's your Facebook password?
I'm not going to give you my Facebook password.
What's your bank account number?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, say it.
What did you search last night on Google?
I don't like this interview.
Si tu n'as rien à cacher, alors on pourrait mettre une caméra dans ta chambre à coucher et dans ta salle de bain et en publier les images sur Internet. Ou alors si tu n'as rien à cacher, on peut prendre ton login et ton mot de passe sur Facebook ou sur Google, les publier et que chacun puisse aller fouiller dedans.
And it is also the case that I want to have a world where everyone has privacy and thus dignity, confidentiality, and integrity in their daily lives without having to ask for it, to beg it from a master. Because it is the case that when you ask someone for those things, they may not grant them, and then you will know you are not free.
Does the NSA routinely intercept American citizens' emails?
No.
Does the NSA intercept Americans' cell phone conversations?
No.
Google searches?
No.
Text messages?
No.
Amazon.com orders?
No.
Bank records?
No.
I give you the surveillance state, ladies and generals.
Director Clapper, does the NSA collect data on hundreds of millions of Americans?
No, sir.
It does not.
Not wittingly.
Ich bin ein Insider, doch ihr seht mir alle zu, das bedeutet wohl, ich bin keiner. Ihr lest mein Tagebuch, sie wissen jetzt so einiges. Es ist interessant, besonders wenn es ein Geheimnis ist. Sie wissen, ob du pleite bist, sie wissen, ob du Scheine machst. Ohne Papier kommst du nicht raus, Reisepass. Treff den Typ von WikiLeaks und lege eine Beichte ab. Und dann werde ich verurteilt von dem Land, das ich verteidigt habe.
NSA and the intelligence community in general is focused on getting intelligence wherever it can, by any means possible, that it believes on the grounds of sort of a self-certification that they serve the national interest.
Du weißt, wir überwachen jeden von hier oben. Wir kriegen alles mit, bist du einmal ungezogen. Mann, wir hängen dir in den Ohren, riechen Kaviar oder Trüffel. Es gibt etliche Methoden, um die Daten zu entschlüsseln.
The NSA specifically targets the communications of everyone. It ingests them by default. It collects them in its system and it filters them and it analyzes them and it measures them and it stores them for periods of time, simply because that's the easiest, most efficient, and most valuable way to achieve these ends.
We're all wiretapped now. We're all being fed lies. No, till we get on the right sound.
Lange hatten die Opfer der NSA kein Gesicht. Aber dieses geheime Dokument der NSA kann das ändern. Denn darin findet sich die IP-Adresse des Studenten Sebastian Hahn.
Es ist meine Server gelistet in diese Liste von Internetadressen. Das ist ein bisschen schockierend.
You don't have to have done anything wrong. You simply have to eventually fall under suspicion from somebody, even by a wrong call. And then they can use the system to go back in time and scrutinize every decision you've ever made, every friend you've ever discussed something with, and attack you on that basis to sort of derive suspicion from an innocent life and paint anyone in the context of a wrongdoer.
I feel like I'm home on my own.
These revelations
legislations, the ones that we published thus far and the ones that we'll continue to be publishing in the future, what they really illustrate is exactly what you said, which is that they don't call it total information awareness anymore. That was a little bit too honest of a term. That was probably the main reason why it created such uproar, because it was just too nakedly clear what it was intending to accomplish. But what the NSA is doing, not just domestically but globally, is creating a total information awareness system. The last story that we
William worked for the US government for 32 years. He was responsible for electronic espionage. A decade ago, when the authorities began to bug US citizens, he left the service. The fight against terrorism seemed to change the rules of engagement overnight.
I mean, there virtually is nothing in the network that they can't have a copy of. If they start targeting you, so what? They already have your data. I can't find out what they're doing with my data. But I know they have it, okay. So I make sure I write in there whatever I have to say about them, I say that in there, so that when they collect it, they know what I'm thinking of them. So.
The question is not, do you have something to hide? The question is whether we control government or the government controls us.
So what can people do? First, they can declare themselves to be free. And secondly, they can declare it by using strong encryption when they use telephones, by talking to journalists about the things that they experience, by actually taking steps to defund organizations that fundamentally violate the Grundgesetz, that reinterpret the G10 privacy laws that are criminal in nature.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're picking up a signal from beyond the space-time continuum. Quick, switch on the juice channeling portal. Wait, is that George Orwell? Good day, George. Wow, what do we owe this honor to? I tried to warn you noobs, but I see you are actually fools. But else you thought this was an instruction manual. Yes, so can you advise us? What would you have us do? An open and universal internet is the most effective tool you have to address the issues that afflict the world at hand. Therefore, protecting it is the most essential task that stands before your generation. I think I understand. Hush, man! You must not lose the internet. Heed this mantra. Who controls the internet controls the data. And who controls the data controls the future. We're losing you. I leave you with a tool to use. An onion? Don't be simple, Robert. This is but a simile. It stands for Tor. Tor? Google it. It's for anonymity. This onion router open network helps considerably against tyranny, but its abilities only work if all you use it consistently. And even if you don't use it, run it, so its force swells. Thanks, Mr. Orwell. From now on, call me George Torwell. If we'd had such tools when I wrote this, well, it would have been so much simpler to tell Big Brother to go f*** himself.
For example, who here is a biologist? Raise your hand if you're a biologist. Anyone? Not one person.
There's
Great. One person. Great. Now raise your hand if you feel you have mastered the ability to reduce your risk about having safe sex, like in terms of reducing the threat that sex can pose. Right? Who here has ever functionally and properly used a condom?
It's okay. Don't be embarrassed.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you should be. You should be embarrassed. The people that didn't raise your hands, in particular. That's a weird thing. I don't really know what to say to you. But the people that raise your hand, you'll know that there was...
We've just got a very innocent audience here, that's all.
Did you raise your hand both times, biologist? Okay, good. So what we know is that we can learn something here, which is that the biologist both understands how to protect himself, and he also understands what it is, in a technical sense, in a scientific sense, what it is he's protecting himself from, and so on. And everybody else that raised their hand doesn't self-identify as an expert, and yet you probably have great sex in a protected manner that reduces your risk. We should be able to accomplish this with cryptography, with encryption. We should be able to understand that we have an epidemic of surveillance and that we need to practice harm reduction strategies with cultural norms that promote it. If you want to connect to me, you have to do it safely.
You're the light that the burst of our day, make it brighter, make things clearer. We're not gonna sit in darkness, we're not gonna live with fear.
Nothing to hide.
Those duped don't trouble to know government's deal. We can force anybody to make a new choice or we build a movement to raise their voice. Build a movement by raising your voice. Build a movement by raising your
CryptoParty.
The video is now on YouTube and on Vimeo with English subtitles. We have English, German, French, and Spanish subtitles right now. Italian and Greeks are coming. If anyone wants to do the Serbian version, talk to me. Thank you.